You see, straight up mutant. And so, and the other ones retreated back into Africa. Now, like I said too, your Yahoo story, you need to go and get the movie Blade Runner. Because the movie Blade Runner came out to commemorate the Yahoo story. The Yahoo story. And the movie is talking about these mutants that are made. But they're supposed to be androids, but they got blood and all this stuff. And they were made by different particular scientists. But like I said too, now for those particular people that are saying that's crazy, we already got the Kemetic records of Yahoo. We have the documents of the Kemetic records of Yahoo in Donald Redford's new book, Israel, Canaan, and Egypt. The Kemetic records of Yahoo. I don't want to stay too much on the whiteboard. I want to give those particular things. Also, we do have Hitler, based on the Philadelphia experiment, Hitler and time travel. What happened with Hitler was, come to find out, no one ever knew how Hitler died. But we remember now that the whole World War II thing was a fight between the Vatican in Rome and the white so-called Aryans that time, and the Pope wanted to get control of the Illuminati money because the Rothschild or the Red Shields, who was the Jews, was running it in England. So they got together with Mussolini and Hitler, and they wanted to run and get control of the doggone money because Hitler was also in the occult thing, and he knew all about this stuff. So as a result, it was a family fight that went on, and that was the whole thing and all. So they just wiped out the Jews that was living in that particular area, and the Pope and all was in on it. It was two people wanting the money, and Rothschild had enough money to influence people who went out at the end. Now, as a result, even though they're all in this thing together, they decided, they told him he had one choice. Either he could die, or they had just completed the Philadelphia experiment that went on in 1943, because I think the end of the war was, what, 45? So they told him that he could get, and he could go, he can get, and because they had this technology, and he could get transported. And he got transported into 1983, Hitler. He died around 1985, because once that mutant gets transported through time, what happens is his body starts to mutate faster, and he gets older. Because this is other information, and all the other information, like I said, we check out with the actual spiritual realm. Now, a book that you need to get is a book called A White Woman Named Corbett. She's talking about the Ark of the Covenant. She's from Canada, but you know the other book to prove that the Ark of the Covenant was in Ethiopia was Graham Hancock's book, The Sign and the Seal. Now, this woman called Corbett wrote a book, and she said once the Ark was taken, it would be World War III. But that Ark was taken last year in September, in February of '94. They had a big conference, and the white boys convinced the doggone black Ethiopians, the Beta Israel, which you know philosopher Jews, to give up the Ark, and they gave the Ark up to them. Now, as a result, they supposedly had this particular Ark, but what happened is that the spiritual realm took the energy from the Ark. Now, you know the Ark was nothing but the chest of Osiris. You can get that in Albert Churchward's book as well as Dr. Ben's book, but also if you want to study up on it, get Graham Hancock's book where he goes and deals with that particular stuff. And the science came from Atlantis. So now the spiritual realm took that Ark and they took the actual energy out of it, so all they got is a chest now. It's an expensive chest, but nevertheless they got a chest that don't work, you see, that don't actually work. Now, like I said before, we got new evidence based on Nostradamus. One particular person was dealing with magnetism. Did you ever get that tape? This guy said he had to get a book from France translated to understand magnetism, and when he got the book translated, he found a translation from Nostradamus. Now, they got over 100 Nostradamus books out. He got a translation of Nostradamus, and in this translation, Nostradamus says that black people will take back the earth and come into their own in the 90s. But you don't never see that in none of the books. Also, if you saw the last ancient prophecies in the spring of last year, they showed this little black boy with a turban walking around behind, or a black man with a turban walking around behind Nostradamus. If you see any ancient pictures of the Moors or any ancient pictures of white people in Europe, excuse me, not ancient, but classical pictures of white people in Europe, you will see a black person behind them. And you thought it was a servant, but that was the actual teacher, based on the leftover Moors in Spain, and they got that tradition of when the Moors was in Spain teaching them. So Nostradamus was taught all his stuff by a black boy to do with what time it was. Also, you need to go see the movie Rob Roy. Now, you need to go see the movie to see how filthy white people are. I mean, they're filthy. But in the movie, the king at that particular time, he got a little black boy. And even though they portraying him as a servant, it's a little black boy with a red turban on. Even though they portraying him as a servant, it's for the metaphysical people to understand that the little black boy was actually the teacher for the king that was actually ruling at that time. So go see that movie, Rob Roy, to understand what's actually going down. Now, let's go into a couple of other things. Number one, you're going to get a particular book called The Alien God by Hans Jonas. It's called The Gnostic Religion by Hans Jonas and the Message of the Alien God. Now, who is the alien God? First of all, there's no such thing as space and time, and there's no such thing as planets, as you know, you understand quantum physics. All you seeing out there is dimensions. And each star you seeing out there is dimensions, and you go through dimensions. That's why the white boy ain't been able to build an effective machine to go to no other planet. Because he can't go this way. He can't go outwardly. You got to go inwardly. You go through dimensions this way, and since the white boy don't have the porthole or the black or the stargate, he can't get nowhere but stay on the doggone third dimension. Because the stargate, you got to have melanin to travel in the chaos sphere. You understand? So therefore, once the third dimension slowed down, once the other dimension slowed down to the third dimension, we became alien to the dimension that we own, this third dimension. So this book is explaining about the alien God, which is a black man that used to be God of this planet and used to rule this thing, but the dimension slowed down, and so therefore he is alien. So he's reporting back in this book, in the scriptures, to the ones who didn't get trapped in this particular experiment. And he's reporting back saying, I can't function down here. Literally. He's saying, I can't wait till the day that you come back and fix this thing. He's saying, because I'm tired of these wicked ones that has now become conducive to these, the ones we created, and I'm tired of them, and at this time conspiring against me. And a whole lot of stuff on the creation, the black realm, and all that is in this book. The Message of the Alien God and the Beginning of Christianity. And this particular book is an old book that was printed in the 1930s. 1958, excuse me. Hans Jonas. Real good book to understand who is the alien that they're talking about. You are the alien. You understand? You are the ones that is not only on this realm that's not bound to this earth, like they say, your cracker is bound to this earth. You are the ones you was bound to this earth for experiment, but you can go beyond this particular realm. Now, explain some stuff about the shadows. You want to learn some other stuff about melanin, you need to go and start reading Jung's psychology work. You know Jung, the Professor Jung, or Jung, some people call him Jung, some people call him Jung. He was the teacher of Freud, but Freud was a doggone psychotic person. Jung, what happened with him, Jung, they dug up some doggone texts, some Gnostic texts in 1930-something. And Jung bought the doggone text, and as a result, he patterned all of his psychological stuff off of that stuff. But if you want to study that particular stuff, he came closer to it. And before he died, he said that the black man and black woman was God. You see. Now, and all of his work came off these Gnostic texts. You can get some greater translation of the Gnostic text in the book, The Egyptian Secrets of the Gnostic, the Secret Book of the Egyptian Gnostics by Jean Duress, who was a papyrologist out of the University out of the Louvre in Paris that translated some of this particular stuff. Where it translates to Jesus Christ, there's a passage in there where Jesus Christ took. Now, this is coming from the translation. You see what I'm saying? Where Jesus Christ took his members up on a certain level, and when he took them to a certain level of spirituality, there was a big-ass mothership waiting out there to pick them up. In the translation, then he goes on in the footnotes and says that Jesus, or Yeshua, knew the signs by being in the mystery system. He knew the signs on opening up certain gateways, and he translated that he probably read a science of magical papyrus out of the Leyden papyrus in England. And there's a little $5 book you can get called the Leyden papyrus, the magical papyrus. And he gives a footnote on what page it was. So in 1993, I did the damn ritual, and sure enough, that same night I started opening up. You see. So the Leyden papyrus, different things in that papyrus. Little $5 book by Dover. You see. by Griffiths. Griffiths was the person who bought the papyrus, and it was in the British Museum. But that particular, so Jung patterned half his stuff was out there, and so there's a thing called the Negrito. You was thinking Negro, which was negative, even though the Afrocentric scholars tried to come in and give you some other thing. They didn't understand the concept of where the shit came from. Excuse the expression. Then it comes from the word Negrito. The Negrito comes from a Kemetic term that the Arabs started using. Because remember now, the Arabic language and the Kemetic language, the Arabic language is a derivative. You see. So the word Negrito means the black sun. Now, it says Saturn, which is the planetary representation of Sirius, is identified with Yahweh. And is also called Sol Nigger. S-O-L-N-I-G-E-R. Sol Nigger, the black sun. So Sol, which means sun. Solomon. Amun, which means hidden. Solomon, which means hidden sun. Metaphysical. You understand what I'm saying? Sol, which means sun. Sol Nigger, which means, Sol means sun. Nigger, which means, comes from the word Negrito, which means black sun. Or Negro comes from the black sun. Some people say, well, that means dead also. Well, death on the third dimension means life in another dimension. This is death. So if you call something else death, that means life. That's when they say the book of the dead. But it's also called the book of the coming forth by day, which means life. So death, what you know it, is life, and this is death. Trapped in a physical body, the jailhouse, the mummy bandages. When you see Osiris wrapped in mummy casings, this is it. This is the mummy. You wearing the mummy. It was a metaphysical. You want to get Jeremiah's book, Egyptian Book of the Dead and the Ancient Mysteries of Amenta for $9. That passage taken out of ancient Kemetic, ancient Egypt, light of the world. The bigger books for $90. But that book, the book of, which is the most authentic book of coming forth by day. The other one is just translated, but they don't go into the scientific part of it or the metaphysical part, and Matthew did. Because Matthew was a spiritual psychic, and he had the goddess Sekhmet with him, and the goddess Sekhmet walked him through the actual papyrus and told him what time it was. So the mummy, this is the mummy. You are trapped in swaddling bandages. This is the mummy, and you're going to rise up. Okay, the Sol Nigger is the alchemical literature, but there is a primordial man. Sol Nigger means primordial man. You're the primordial man, primal. They say primitive. Primitive means primal, primordial man, first man. Also called Saturn Chronos, or Sebek Chronos, or Sut, or Sirius, or Sut-on. The Gnostics saw the prince of darkness responsible for evil in the world. Evil as an adversary of the god of the element, which is the element needed to transcend to the God image. Now, what they mean by evil? Anytime, see, you got to get out of this spooked up devil thing. Anytime you see evil in the Gnostic scriptures, it's talking about an adversary or evil opposed to the physical. You are trapped. Your spirit is trapped into the physical, and you're limited. You got to doggone take a dump. You got to eat. You got to do all those things, which is acquired functions based on your spiritual Godhead got trapped in this physical jailhouse. The dead zone, the casket, the mummy. But what they say is when they talk about the prince of darkness, they're talking about that one who is dialectical opposite, opposed from the physical that can wake you up to another level. This is another aspect of God. Now, I got some stuff to really explain this stuff when I go into the actual one. The black sun. Give me a picture of the black sun. The black sun, to show you, this is the black sun. It's called the black, now, that particular part there is called the black sun. Right up there, you'll see a particular reptilian demon. You see a screw. It represents the Kundalini. That reptilian demon that you see is the Kundalini in you. But you also see a demon called a karma zone. It's the holy demon. Now, what is this? First of all, I told you everything was inward. Okay? Was inward. Now, let me explain this black sun of the Negrito, or it's called the prima materia in alchemy. You go into your Godhead. The Kundalini is rising you to take you through the gateway. which is the black dot. But you have a lower nature. The lower nature likes it here. It wants to stay around. You understand? And it's going to do everything to keep you from going up. So therefore, it makes everything in your outside world seem impossible, so you'll get off the path. Oh, shit, I ain't got no money. All this, all that. You see what I'm saying? Everything that you're going through is the lower nature is keeping you from going through the doggone stargate. Now, because the lower nature really wants to get through. Once you see you rise, the lower nature says, well, hell, I'm going to try to go too. That's your ego. You want to take all the foolishness with you. You understand what I'm saying? All the jealousy, all the envy, all the petty stuff. So, you're going to go through the stargate. But something's going to happen. This particular demon, or it's called the double, it's later on called the devil. Switch on. The devil, which you call the double. It sits over the doorway. And it's ready to devour anything that is not pure to get through. So what it does, it kills the lower nature, so only the higher nature rises through the stargate, and you go to your Godhead and you become God again. You understand where I'm coming from? So the demon that you see is good. White people see this demon too. But since there is no higher self with them because the stargate is closed off, when they go up and try to hit the demon, the stargate is calcified, so the spirit hits the doggone ceiling and goes right to the demon, and the demon devours it. But since there's no stargate, the higher self can't come through, so it just neutralizes them. Whereas when it neutralizes you, that's good because you have a higher self, because you have the black melanin dot and the supreme function of the pineal gland. So when the demon or Satan or anything devours you, you understand? When it devours you, you go to your Godhead. Well, what happens? The cracker goes up this spiritual path. The Kundalini is the original hellfire. Everything is not literal. Those effects, the mundane, what you call fundamentalism, is talking about fairy tales. Everything that you think is literal in fairy tales that you have learned is an esoteric meaning. You just understand the exoteric meaning that was created to teach a white man whose temperament is that of the beast, and he's an animal, and he has to be humble. But you got the curse of Ham because you started reading the book that was written for him, and you're supposed to be reading the esoteric book, which is the Holy Kabbalah. And this is one of the best ones you need to get. Waite's Holy Kabbalah. Now, y'all, walk with me on this. The white boy goes up. The Kundalini is the hell's fire, and it burns the lower ego up. So when the white boy goes up, because he doesn't have the pineal gland or the gateway is not open, the high hellfire burns him up. When the hellfire burns you up, it burns up the lower half, and you ascend into the higher half. And that's when you develop the wings, the ascension. The Kundalini hits the black dot. Because you have the black dot, which is a trans-cosmic gateway, you go through the stargate. You understand? The white boy, since his is closed off, he cannot get to that particular realm because he doesn't have it. That's the difference. Now, you're going to get this Waite's Holy Kabbalah. You have several scientific Kabbalah. A.E. Waite, Citadel Press. Your Bible comes from the precursor of the Bible. The scriptures come from the Kabbalah. Now, mind you, me, the Kabbalah is not Hebrew because the Kabbalah is not Hebrew because here's a picture of the Kabbalah on the temple walls at Kemetic. So the next time, even though the Hebrews are Ethiopians and it was the same thing, the Hebrew had the Kabbalah and the Kemetic had the Kabbalah. This goes all the way back to Atlantis where it's all black. That's why no white Jew can't say that he's the mystic and he has the doggone Kabbalah, because the Kabbalah don't work for him. This is the physical documentation at the temple of Komombo that predates the Hebrew Kabbalah. based on what the white boy is trying to say, that Abraham gave it to him. Abraham, Abra, which means son. Ham, which means black. It means the black son, Abraham. It comes from the word Ham. That later on gets the word S in it, and which means Sam, Kemetic, which means black. So how can a white man be Semitic? Now, this is the Kabbalah. One, if you want to get on Dion Fortress, Mystical Kabbalah, several ones, you study the Kabbalah in the Medu Neter by Ra Nefer, Amun Ra, you study that one to understand those particular deities, the Kemetic deities. But the Kabbalah, there's a Sufi Kabbalah, there's a Yoruba Kabbalah. This is the tree of life. You can line whatever deity to come in whatever language you're in. There are several black languages. It comes out of doggone Kemetic. This is one for the Necronomicon that I'm going to get into. Now, this is the key. White Kabbalah is giving you the scriptures. This is why you need to get this one. It's giving you the scriptures that are the precursor to the Bible. So everything that's messed up in the Bible, you need to go into this one. Now, I want to show you something that is unbelievable. And look at this. Look at this. You're going to go and you're going to read on page 323. Now remember, everything that you thought the Bible was talking about a place and a people, it was talking about on the inside. But the Bible is carved up for the ancient, for the savage man, so therefore he's getting it literally. And you have been stuck in that and get the thing literally. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what you need is the Kabbalah to understand that everything is inwardly, esoterically. This is the temple. Solomon, the hidden son, the temple of Solomon, which means, oh Solomon, I am black and comely. So the temple of Solomon is the black body. Who is the master mason who built Solomon's temple? The black woman, because she has the temple. Damn man can't have no temple. So the real master mason is the black woman. How many masons up in here? Any masons? Any masons up in here want to challenge me on this? That's not real masonry. Prince Hall is only a Jack and Jill club of a AKA or that doggone bridge club where you drink, look, and drive cabs and sing Negro spirituals. Ain't got nothing to do with no real mason whatsoever. And whatever the white boy got 33 degrees, he did get it from the doggone Moors who set up the Knights Templar. Then the York Rite came out of there. You understand the history of that. Now, going back to this, on page 323, now you're going to be a section in here called the Book of the Concealed Mystery. What is a concealment? Concealment is a circle that comes from the word Zebo out of the word Zebo out of Atlantis, where you get the first of your letters that 1 through 9 comes out of. Zebo is a circle, which means the black dot, which comes the word zero, which means learning. And 1 through 9 completion comes out of zero, the black dot, which is chaos. You got it? Comes from Atlantis. Zebo comes from Atlantis. You see, filtered on down. Now, there's a whole section in here called the Book of the Concealed Mystery. The Concealed Mystery is talking about the black dot melanin when you read it in here. They're going to give you some mystical stuff and stay on track. Now, this is the part talking about the Messiah. Now, let me show you this particular part. There's a section in here called the Intruder. Let me find this section for you. I should have marked it off, but just bear with me. I want to read this to you. The intruder is the white man. He's also called a false prophet in the Bible. Now, another good book that turned out to be a very good book was last time that book, The Beginner's Guide to Revelation, by Robin Robertson. He was a Jung psychologist. Need to get that Beginner's Guide to Revelation, Robin Robertson, because he's going to deal with Kemetic. He's going to deal with the chaos theory, the black hole in space, the Dogon, and all that is in that book. Now, let me show you this particular part. The intruder on 321. You're going to read something in here on 321 called the intruder. Now get this. This is unbelievable. In the Bible, when they talk about Revelation, it says the particular people, the ones that's going to be lifted up, are the children of Israel. They ain't talking about no place. Which is Isis. Ra, which is the sun, and El, which is the son of the son, which is El. You see what I'm saying? The mother, the son, and the son, the Trinity, which is black people. Check? Israel. So it's talking about the Israel. It says, once you are raised up, the scriptures say you're going to get a new heart. I will give you a new spirit, and I will put it within you. That's your higher self. You got a lower self, you got a higher self that's lying dormant in the egg. That's called Harpochrist, which is melanin, is in your gateway. He said, I will give you a new spirit, and again I shall come to pass and pour out all spirits upon all flesh. And the sons and daughters shall prophesy, and the old men shall dream dreams, and the young men shall see great visions. Remember, at this particular time, it was a little patriarchal. It means that the women shall become more psychic, and the man and the women will dream dreams, and the man will gain more knowledge. But remember, psychic is more powerful. That's why the women are more hooked up, because they haven't suppressed all their spiritual nature as far as their emotions, so they can become. That's what it means. Then it says this. This is the point I want to see to you. And the old man shall dream dreams, and the young man shall see visions. And the intruders shall be exterminated at the time when there shall be accomplished, which is said to be the old tradition. And this period is referable also to the text of Genesis when Adam says to Eve to be naked and ashamed. Remember the white man coming out of the cave is naked and ashamed? Now this is the key right here. Now he explains. The reason for this is that the intruders are cause of luxury. Now, let me explain what this means. It says that the intruders in here says will be exterminated. That will be exterminated will be the ones that fail to enter or fail to complete the house of Jacob. Now, what is Jacob's ladder? Jacob's ladder is this, the Holy Kabbalah. This is the ladder of life, the tree of life. This is Jacob's Kabbalah. Now this is the key. The reason why the white boys fail to complete this house of Jacob is because they can't get through this particular spear called dogma. Yeah, that's it. They can't get to this particular spear because that particular spear is what? The black sun. So they said that the intruders in this particular book will fail, they will be exterminated because they will fail to enter the house of Jacob. You understand? It also says that the intruders will no longer have ability and power over you because of his luxuries will be wiped out. Only reason why he got power over you was because of the luxuries. The physical stuff. Hey, I don't want to go. I don't want to be free. I still got to get mine. I still got to get paid. I still want that shit that he puts in doggone stores. You have been reduced down to consumers, and you want that stuff that the man put in the doggone stores. How pathetic. So therefore, you don't want to go to a higher level because you want all the doggone material stuff. Not you. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. Check. All right. Get this particular book. In here in the concealed mystery, they're going to say, well, who is the one with the concealed mystery? The black sun. They say his hair is of lamb's wool, which is talking about you, lamb. The double helicox DNA structure. Check. Key book. But read the book inward and don't try to read the book outward. That's how you mess up. That's why you don't get nothing, because you're trying to read some events. And anytime they say temple, they mean you. Anytime they say covenant, they mean you. Anytime they say Jerusalem means the soul. Anytime they give you a place, a land, a plateau, a place, a city, you see what I'm saying? The chosen place, they're talking about your body. And that's why you haven't been able to actually get on top of this particular thing, for the simple fact that we have all been trying to look at the stuff literally. You see? And it's not talking about literal at all. Check? All right. I got another. I'm going to give you some other good books in a minute. Let's go through some stuff. Like I said, the reptilian race, the white boy is talking about this reptilian race is getting ready to take over the earth. The reptilian race is nothing but the people who got full use of the Kundalini, which is you. They come from Draconian. That's the deepest part of the hemisphere where the black sun or the black ether that has the star system Sirius comes from. So the reptilians is nothing but you. It's all coded. Ain't nothing coming back to kill them but you. Stick with me now. Now, this is very key. I got a particular temple. There's a temple by the name of the Temple of Biblium El Manuk. It's the temple in Kemetic that has the 4 races of men on it, with the Tamahu being the created man, and the Tamahu was created from the Nessie, which is the West African and South African, and the Ruti, which is the actual East African or your Egyptian, created the Tamahu. Tamahu means created, the created man. Now, it's interesting about this temple. I'm going to tell you 2 books you need to buy. If you can't get one, you got to get the other. This particular temple of Biblium El Manuk, or the Temple of Seti I, is where this particular stuff about the white man was recorded, that Ramesses built for his son, Ramesses II, built for his father Seti I when Seti I passed at age, and when Ramesses II was 21. He built the temple at Abydos, the first holy man, the temple of Seti I. Now, it's interesting because that particular temple, they have pictures on that temple, a complete temple in the late 1800s. Then they don't show no more temples for close to 90 years, to 100 years, about 100 years. The next time we see the temples in 1989, the damn temple tore down and they rebuilt the temple, and it was a brand new temple again. Because they took the bas reliefs out. Now you can get some of the bas reliefs, and you get to understand about the Tamahu in Diop's book, African Origins of Civilization, Myth or Reality. Because he was married to the white man, he took a page out, that particular letter of Champollion, which you can get in Gerald Masson's book at the beginning, volume 1, page 27, on the Tamahu being the archaeological evidence at the Temple of Seti I that says that the Tamahu, or the white man, is created by the Egyptians. Also in Theology of Time, the Theology of Time in the book form, you can also get it in Elijah Muhammad talk about the same thing, but we have the archaeological evidence at the Temple of Seti I. Now, this is the key thing. In the Temple of Seti I of the bas reliefs of Biblium El Manuk in Abydos, there's some other things on the reason why they had to tear down this temple. In the bas reliefs, they got pictures of white people with their heads cut off. All through the temple. I got pictures of this, and I don't know. The only picture I didn't bring, that I didn't put on the thing, was that with the heads cut off. But what you want to do is it coincides with a papyrus of the British Museum called the Papyrus of the Winged Disc. It's called Heru Winged Disc of Edfu. Now you must get this particular book, and you got to study it precisely. If you don't understand it, read it over. You're going to get 2 books. You're either going to get From Fetish to God in Ancient Egypt by E. Wallace Budge. Did you ever get that? Or Legends of the Egyptians. I would prefer to get From Fetish to God, written the last year of Budge's life, 1935. Now that's the one you're going to get. There's going to be 2 papyrus that coincide with the book of Revelation. It's the Egyptian or the Kemetic version of the book of Revelation, but it's more precise. Now, in there, they're talking about the original Christ, Heru, coming back. They talk about that these particular evil race is going to come, and Heru is going to come, and he's going to have a winged disc. That's the spaceship. That's this whole space age thing. But the crackers ain't going to be able to get away, and they're going to run, and Heru and them going to be cutting off the head. That's where you get your Highlander movie from. Anybody know about Highlander? Cut off the head. Well, they get it from the Heru Winged Disc of Edfu in the Hieratic Papyrus of the British Museum, translated by Alan H. Gardner, and is printed in Budge's book, From Fetish to God, or the little smaller book, The Legends of the Egyptians. Now, there's 2 folds to the papyrus. The first one is called, the first papyrus is talk about the destruction of mankind. A kind of man. You see? And in there they conspired against Ra. Ra, which means the black sun. But they sent out Sekhmet, and Sekhmet went to kill them, but she let him go. That's the first version of the papyrus. The second version immediately goes in Heru Wingdis a couple of thousand years later. And when it goes into that, it talks about that Heru is victorious and he cuts off their heads, this evil race of people. So you need to get that particular book and look those particular things. They coincide with the actual part of Abydos. Check. All right, now, what time is it? You want to take the break now? Keep going? Another 15 minutes. Now, what you're going to do is, you're going to get the, there's a particular part that's dealing with this reptilian, is talking about the alien agenda. Now, the alien agenda is a conference that happened on the West Coast the spring of 1994, and I actually got the actual cassette, where these white people were concerned that these draconians was going to come and it was going to kill them all. Those draconians that they're talking about is a code word, and it means that they're going to come and they're going to literally kill them, and it's talking about doggone white people dying. Now, it's talking about actual white people dying. Now, I want to show you a couple of things. Let's see what we're going to do right now. I want to show you a couple of things that's actually going down. And I want to read you something on the ego. This is the part that you must neutralize. It's called, it says, the more strongly we identify with something, the more strongly we must reject its opposite. That's what I was telling you at the beginning of the thing. When you go into another realm of what you would call something that's supposed to improve your quality of life, if you start shutting down the other particular part, what happens is you literally, what you went into to improve the other quality of life becomes the same thing that you do because you become obsessive with it. And so therefore you get stuck, and that's ego. Thus, the strongest, the most oppressive egos belong to the least complete of us. And what it means is this. Basically, when black people gained a certain amount of knowledge, they became a certain arrogant. They became arrogant. To become arrogant means that in actuality you are still incomplete. The complete person that gains the knowledge is humble. Some people say, well, brother, how you get this particular stuff? Or whatever, what's this kind of thing? I want to know. I say, it's nothing wrong with knowing the knowledge, but in order to go up the cosmic ladder, what is your goals and your objectives? Do you want to gain the knowledge so you can beat up on the people that have not been fortunate when you're supposed to be helping the people? You see, some of us gain the knowledge so we can be bigger. So the first thing you see some Afrocentric brothers and sisters, the first thing they start doing is, oh, brother, that's not pronounced that way. Oh, brother this, and oh, brother that. So their objective is they got into the knowledge not because they was genuinely sincere to say, I want to find a way to get my people out of here, because your sincerity is your credential. So what is the goals and the objective? Are you here to simply really just to learn, just have a storehold house of knowledge? That's why they got some, I went to certain brothers, they got all the books, big library, and they end up dying. Hell of knowledge, end up dying, and the doggone children was not in the knowledge, give the damn books all over the place. And all that library is gone, because you can't hang on to the knowledge, you got to give it out. So it depends on your goal and objective. Are you sincere, or you just to say, well, hey, I just want some knowledge and stuff so I can just drop that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I can, yeah, hey, you know, that kind of thing. So it's the goals and the objectives that we're talking about. Why are we really in the knowledge? And based on if you are in it for personal gain, then therefore you get stuck there. That's okay. It says for those types, there is an additional problem that to exalt any principle will eventually attract its opposite. So when you exalt something thinking you're getting out of this, if you exalt that particular thing and get stuck, and sooner or later, if you don't go on, you will attract the opposite. So some people get the knowledge, they don't want to go to the end and literally die and be transformed. They just want the knowledge so they can just look good. And therefore, they become evil. You see what I'm saying? They become evil. And it says, those who strive for good will become the embodiment in evil. And that's the key I wanted to get to you. You got 100 churches on each corner. They're striving for good, initially. Right? They're on each corner. And this is how it goes. The animals and everything out here, they don't need no books. Nature is nature and the spirit is the spirit. And everything coincides. The original man didn't need no books and he didn't need no manual on how to go. We had to get that to the white boy because he needed that because he didn't have a soul. The dark night of the soul is the soul, which is melanin. He has no melanin, no soul. That's in psychology. And the white boy knows it. Whole book's written on the shadow. They made a movie to it, The Shadow. Now, so all of a sudden you got a spiritual nature, which is nameless. You can't name that which is nameless because it's nature and it's always changing. Soon as you put a label on it, or a category, you limit that spiritual process, and therefore it becomes evil. Isn't it funny how 98% of all Christians, they get into what they believe is truth, and the next thing you know, they beating you down with it? That's because they stuck. And what it is the church is evil. Anytime you dogmatize something, it's evil. You understand what I'm saying? It's evil. And that's what happened. First you had the spiritual realm called your chauvinistic age or your Atlantean age when you were God. Then you had what is called a pagan age, which is not negative. Pagan only means people. And when the people who was calling the pagans, it only means those people, those black people. Which was the spiritual age where you culminated that when the spiritual system shut down and you had to go into the seven liberal arts to learn how to become God in the mystery system. Then came the monotheistic age, where you tried to go a dogma thing and one God and it all became evil. Then it produced the doggone white boy who was the atheist age. That is based on scientific, left-brain scientific, they got nothing to do with spirituality. You see? And now it's going into the chaotic age again. Let me show you the actual graph. But let me get on this particular part. Most leaders, preachers, scholars, spiritualists claim that their own ego has been obliterated and merged into the union of the Godhead. Nothing of the sort has occurred. They only merely embody some of the Gnostic knowing and the exaltation to inflate their own egos. So what I just told you before, some of the stuff we gain this knowledge, and all of a sudden we become arrogant with it, and we use it for the wrong purpose. The more knowledge you gain, the more humble you're supposed to come. Not the more you acquire. You ever learn the more knowledge you acquire to require physical stuff. The yogi tells you, empty mind, full room. You got all this doggone physical bullshit. Man, I got to get paid. It's all about getting paid. Full mind, empty room. Simple as that. The spiritual is the supreme vexation to the physical. You ready to stand on it? Got a $100,000 a year job? Let's see how spiritual you are. Are you willing to quit that job? Are you willing to compromise when the cracker get on your behind? And it's simple as that. Now, such has a lot to do with college students. The knowledge is really, what happens is they get into this particular knowledge. Because, see, the college thing has always been a vehicle for black protest, which is positive, but you got to understand the goals and the objectives. Number one, they go to college to learn to be black leaders of the day. So therefore, this is a good opportunity to try out their protest skills and their leadership skills. So the first thing happens is this, I teach on the college campus. Brother come in, you know, he was partying, freak-nicking and all that. Come in for the first time and here's some profound knowledge. I've seen this happen. 2 weeks later, kindergarten knowledge. He done started a damn group and want to be the leader of it. And he get in the group and they got 400 leaders. And the group only lasts about 2 or 3 weeks because nobody can agree on nothing. First thing happens. That's the doggone ego that they're talking about. That's the actual ego that they're actually talking about. Now, to believe in a spook or a spherical God and one's ego is ultimately to imprison one's own self in madness and to invoke the eventual disaster. That's the concept of what you believe in when you don't understand the primal gnosis and the concept of spirituality. When you put a deity in front of you and you use that deity as some form of a spook and don't understand the supreme thing, then your ego flares up around that particular deity and you invoke disaster. And that's what's happening with the church and all that kind of thing. That's the same thing I was just talking about I got my Jesus Christ and Jesus is the way. Don't you get sick of that bulljive? Because spiritually, when you look at it, it don't sound right because it's only dogma. It don't hold a hill of beans. Check. Both religious maniacs and egomaniacs acquire a certain charisma and mission for their respective They require a certain charisma. That's some of your leaders and stuff. And mission from their respective obsessions, but ultimately their quest is futile. They cannot get beyond their own inflated egos and fears and desires. And the real thing is anonymous to the real thing. So they can't get past that barrier of the ego to the real thing, which is anonymous, which is formless, yet fantastic, and the power source of all self. So they can't get to the other. We're trying to tell you to undo yourself, but in order to undo yourself, you must become like the ancient man. Humble. That's the key. And once you become humble, what happens is this. All stuff is lifted. You free now. You don't have to put on no front for nobody. You don't have to do nothing for nobody. If you want to wear some damn holy drawers, you can wear some holy drawers. If the damn house falling down, it's falling down. You don't have to impress nobody because what's happening here is you're free now. So the things that used to doggone bombard you that you needed to put on this show, that's the vanity, you don't need it no more. And for the mere fact that you have become humble, you don't give a doggone what people think about you because you know that those people are dead. They're stuck in the physical. So therefore, you'll look on them as victims. You understand? Other than looking on them of objects or what you are trying to doggone impress. Check? Okay. There are perhaps two things that one can invoke the higher self. In Kemetic, it's called the Kia. K-A-K-I-A, Kia. Firstly, the ego can be put into place by absolutely seeking the union with things with anything that one has rejected. Which means this: you got to throw out all dogma or some stuff that the same stuff that you talk junk about. You got to understand the duality of things. And when you go to one dichotomy, you're just as bad as the one you left from. You understand the concept of what I'm talking about? You got to ease up. You see what I'm saying? And let go of this particular stuff that will inflate your ego. Okay? Now, the other thing is accept the diversity of all things and the series that these things have, in a series of things. Not talking about white people. We're talking about a combination of what you would call contradictions are everything. And when I get into this particular stuff with sex tantrum and different things, you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to this particular stuff. You see, and I got some real pictures to show you some things on what to do and how to do these particular things. You see, so now, you want to look. So now we're talking about chaos. What is chaos? Chaos is the thing which change is supreme. It says, the unorganized state of primordial matter before creation. A confused state of mass. Chaos is good. Chaos is the primal source of all, which is talking about the black chaos. In the beginning there was chaos. In the beginning there was... It is not anarchy, it's chaos. Which it means that all of this society, The black people killing each other. The black people is positive. Since you don't die, those people who kill themselves only get exited from what you're going to get exit from sooner. They're waiting on you. Some people say, well, I don't know, brother. I don't know if I'll make it. I look at all these crazy people out here. That's the first thing the doggone nationalists or the conscious person say. The first thing you want to say is they don't want to make it. Because everybody wants to achieve personally. And you don't want other people to really do it. So when you say they ain't going to make it, you're not really sincere to be crying about it. You really saying this particular thing and say, I got mine and I'm on the ship. But you don't realize one thing. The person that's dead is the first one to go. Hell, if the person wasn't dead, there wouldn't be no reason for nothing to come and clean it up. So therefore, what you call chaos and the destruction of society is actually good. So it's not anarchy, it's chaos. In the beginning, there was only chaos. The agents of chaos cast the burning glances at anything capable of bearing witness to their creation. One must have chaos or melanin in one to give birth to a dancing star. That's the black sun. You understand? Now this comes from the white boy. Matter is illusion. This is an illusion, this matter here. Solidity is an illusion. We are all illusions. Only chaos is real. Only the black sun inside of you is real. But you stuck on this physical body. The only thing that's real is the spirit inside. The Bible told you the same thing. It's just so messed up and discombobulated until you really don't understand the true gnosis, which means knowing. You see. The limitless heaven shines a continuous chaos. You see what I'm saying? The limitless chaos. So it's talking about this particular black substance. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to go into some even deeper stuff because I got some good pictures I want to show you all, and we're going to get down with some stuff. Check. All right. All right. Go through a series of things on these dates, and I can explain stuff that way. I don't want to get too analytical. This is a realm. Yeah. This is a realm on where you came from and where you're going. At first you was into the shamanistic, which means the Godhead, and you was functioning on a spiritual level. Then you went to the religious. Now the shamanistic, which is you went to the pagan, that is not talking about anything negative. That's talking about a spiritual realm that came out of Egypt, which pagan only means the people, black people. People say, oh, that's a pagan religion. They never look up the word pagan. It only means the people. And the people who was talking about it was talking about your black people over there. It had nothing to do with nothing negative. Hell, the most negative is the monotheistic. Because it shut down the spiritual aspect, whereas you could not manifest your spirituality. Whereas most people that was dealing with monotheistic, or what you would call religiosity or fundamentalism, when they had spiritual people in their family, they would start shutting them down. Oh, you going crazy, you got demons on you and all that old crazy stuff. Now what had happened was this. During the time of the Hebrew priests, after they left out of the mystery system, they had lost a certain amount of the Gnostic, the gnosis, which means knowing. Gnosis, which means knowing. They had lost some of the gnosis of the stuff of the mystery system. So they had certain rituals in Hebrewism like your Kabbalah. So as a result, they had to cut out rituals because they understood that they knew that black people was God, because these were black people. Some of this stuff happened with us growing into a lower ego. So they knew that our people, once they got into their spiritual self, they could tap into a higher source and learn some spiritual things and could have one over the priest with the big ego. He couldn't run it if this person has a higher knowledge than him. So they had to cut out the actual ritual. So therefore, that's where you get all this stuff about pray to God and everything is so doggone dogmatic and so doggone, you understand, praying and doing stuff. Whereas I went to a church and they was talking about how Jesus came to save a wretch like me. You understand this stuff, then you understand how your spirituality comes down. That's called slave religion. Then the white boy comes on. He's the atheist because he don't believe in nothing, but he's a nihilist, but he's a rationalist, which is based on science. That's left brain. So it's nothing, he has nothing to do with spirituality whatsoever. But on the other hand, there was a few people in the lodge that understood our original stuff. They was practicing the spiritual stuff, even though they can only do so much with it because they don't have the ultimate black dot to carry it out. You see what I'm saying? Because it's talking about inwardly. Then you had what is called pan-demon, which is the chaos sphere which you're going back in. And that's the original form that you was in before you came to the planet and you were the god. Pan is the Greek god Pan. The Greek god Pan is what the Christians use for the symbol of Satan. Now, because see, a lot of you people is in the spookism. First of all, when you get in Afrocentricity, you learn that there ain't no devil. You know, you learn that there ain't no devil. Then all of a doggone sudden, when you start going high up in the spirituality, they start getting into things that you thinking is kind of scary. So the first damn thing you do is you double back. You see, because you afraid to face the real deal stuff, and we're going to get into that today. Pan-demon. First of all, this is a real picture of how your spirit looks on the inside. This is the real spirit. You worry about this little old messed up body. This is the real spirit. This is called Black Kundalini. Two trans-Ugathian gods of magic. Trans-Ugathian gods of magic. That's how you look on the inside. This is coming from England, drawing the Black Kundalini, because a lot of your occult experiences, they deal with that particular stuff. And they try to, so they know that the soul and the spirit is black. So ain't no way in hell you can be white. You see what I'm saying? And talk all that bull down. This is how the spirit looks. And the white indicates, even though you can be white, bright, and damn near light, and still have the black dot and have this on the inside. But it's only 20% of white people that have this, because they're not mutants, they're black people. And somewhere down in that doggone the realm of genetics, something happened as far as race mixing. But they still have the black dot. One drop of black blood and you black. Now on the other hand, you have a mutant, which is based on genetic engineering. They don't have this particular soul. They only have lower energy. You understand what I'm saying? Now, Pan is called the Sabbatic ghost, Sabbath, the Sabbath day. Now, it's interesting about this particular picture, and this is where we get into some real deal stuff here. It's interesting about this picture. Let me get some couple of things I want to show you here. Y'all bear with me. This is the Greek god Pan. Now, anytime you see something that looks hideous, it's metaphysical. It's not talking about literally. They use mythology when the stuff was more powerful. When the energy was more powerful, they used the hideous symbols to indicate energy. You misconstrued this for being evil. You catch the trip what I'm talking about? Now, the horns come from the goddess Hathor. It also comes from the god Ammon. You see the horns on Ammon? Same horns that they took and they changed, the Greeks turned it into the god Pan, which means they're all in all. What it says? The beings who live below say that God is on high, while the angels in heaven say that God is on earth. They're praying to you because you the real deal. You see what I'm saying? When the spirits say, don't ask us, demand us to help you. Just take control of your doggone universe. Demand, say, I demand you to help me, but don't be asking for no material shit. They ain't gonna do that. That's illusion. Ask for spiritual stuff and you will gain it. Demand it. Don't be asking for no material thing, a new car and all that old stuff the cracker invent. That's illusion. We're going to get into the illusion in a few minutes. Now, this comes to Greek and becomes the Greek god Pan. Now, the Greek god Pan has the horns. You know this is the symbol of Satan. The word Soot, which means black, and On, which is Anubis. Anpu. Soot-On, which means the black opening. The black dot. It's called Hemmitt. The black point, the black dot, Sutan, which means melanin, which means Satan, which means opener, light bringer. Metaphysically, the Kabbalah tells you that devil is a spook devil. They said the devil that we're talking about in Kabbalah, which is the precursor to the Bible, which the Bible came out, is that particular part that neutralizes your and humbles you by neutralizing your lower self to bring you to the higher self. As you see, it has the Kundalini in the middle, which means the black dot. As you see, it's called Pan, the all-begetter, the all-in-all. You see the sun, you got Allah. The sun, you see the star in the middle of the head. The star in the crescent, the all-in-all. This is an ancient symbol of one of the most ancient gods, but when you see the hideous thing, you thinking it's some spooked out devil stuff, and it's indicating energy. These are things that you must get into and quit literal. That's how the white boy runs you. Because you are spooked up into what is called fundamentalism, where you got literal stories. They're talking about metaphysics or esoteric, that which is hidden. The star in the pentagram, and you say, oh, that's the devil star. See, the white people be wearing. That's the damn black dot. They wearing that instead of trying to get some energy because they don't have the black dot. The pentagram. You see that thing that's coming out of the top of the head is the spirit. It's the spirit. Down here you see the black moon. The black moon and the white moon is the yin and the yang. Is the yin and the yang symbol.